Hey, and welcome to the Can You Read Yourself to Success edition of 7-Figure Business Secrets. Hey, morning. Actually, this is my second. I was actually just on to you. You don't know this yet, but the episode that you listened to, whatever, last week or 3 days ago was actually recorded about 10 minutes ago. Yeah, as you can see, I'm sort of stuck in traffic, and I said, "Oh, great! I shall use this opportunity to have a quick chat to you about something that's been going around my brain. And it's this whole idea of reading. Yeah." So in case you don't know, I'm an avid reader. I love reading, and I read the most sad-ass books you can possibly get. I have hundreds of business books that I've picked up in airports and Amazon all over the world. And it's quite a sad library, but I love it. I've got books on teams and advertising and sales and business and you name it. I've probably got a book in it, and which is grand. And there's a lot of people who subscribe to the read more and you learn more. But but I was sort of thinking, this last week, is that still true? And is that really honestly true? And you know what? I'm beginning to doubt it, and I never thought that I'd ever hear myself say that maybe reading books is not all it's cracked up to be anymore. And why am I thinking that? Well, for the last, I used to read, probably I'd say about a book a week, maybe a book every 2 weeks. In fact, no, a book every week. When I was, you'd basically hop on a plane, and by the time you hit the far side of the Atlantic, you'd be finished. And I was doing that 2, 3, 4 times a month. So that in its own was a book a week. Never mind everything else. But what I realised is lately, it's all down Tim Ferris. Tim Ferris, whoa, what are you doing to me? Because my wife bought me The Tribe of Mentors, and I don't know if you've ever seen that book, right? So it's about that thick. I kid you not, big, massive, thick book of almost, I think, just over 100, almost 200 interviews with different people. Actually, very interesting book. He basically asked them all the same 7 or 8 questions, like what was your biggest failure, and what was your best buy for like a cheap amount of money, and what would you say to someone starting off, and what big quote would you put on the billboard. So it's actually very interesting. One, listening to people who you know and how they answer the questions, and 2, people you never ever heard about and how they answered it. And they're all sorts of people, from business people to entrepreneurs to sports people to artists to movie stars to it's just very, very interesting, eclectic, hey, I must be on my game using big fancy words. Eclectic mix of different people and personalities. But here's the problem. That book is this thick, right? And it's been sitting by my bed now for probably 3 months, maybe even 4 months, because basically there's so much to read in it. So I'm sort of used to having a stack of books beside my bed, and they get cleared pretty quickly. But this one, no, the amount of words in it's taken me ages to get through. And that let me thinking, going, hang on a second, is my learning, has it dried up or slowed down because of this? And the more I thought about it, it's like, no, not a bit. In fact, I did something about 3 years ago that I think has overtaken books in terms of how I learn and how I get information. Because what I realized about books is that you get 1, 2, maybe 5 ideas out of a book that you can actually remember and resonate with you, and maybe implement 2 of them by the time you finish the book. Or does that sound reasonable? You're probably the same. And some of the books that I've read, like, just had an amazing transformation on me, but not because the book itself was brilliant. There's probably one idea out of maybe the 20 that the author was trying to put across, and that one idea struck with me and resonated, and I went and implemented it. And I can count back the books that have really impacted me. Probably the one thing, Gary Keller, I've mentioned him before, Adweek, so Joe Shugman, very, very good, just transformed my idea about basically marketing and what you're trying to do, and copywriting. What else? 80-20 Pareto. What was I can't even remember the 80-20 principle. It could be something like that. Another great book. But again, it resonated with my upbringing as an engineer. But they're books that have just really just transformed the way I think about things. And about 3 years ago, I was telling you, did something that has actually probably outdated my book reading, and that was I started listening to podcasts. And in a podcast, here's the brilliance of a podcast. So a book, you read it, it takes you whatever 2 hours, 3 hours to get through it, or with Tim Ferris, months to get through it, and you get a few ideas out of it. But with a podcast, right? You can listen to a podcast driving, walking, whatever it is, in the gym, wherever you want to be. And in that 15-minute or 10-minute, 15-minute, half an hour, you always get a nugget, one or two little ideas that just shifts your thinking and makes you think, okay. Or, always. And if you do like me, if I listen to my podcast at 1.5 times speed, so half an hour to someone else is 20 minutes to me. So it's cool. So you squeeze in loads of little nuggets, and the great thing is you can actually listen to someone's thought processes, right? So if you find a new podcast that resonates with you, you can go and listen to all of their back catalogue and everything and get all their ideas. Maybe in a week you've listened to all their podcasts, depending on how much driving and walking you do. And that has absolutely transformed my thinking, or at least my source of ideas, because I'm able to get a wider selection of ideas from people I'd never really listened to normally. And it's free as well. It's not even like book. It's free. So it's incredibly powerful. And then on the back of that is last podcast talked about was your network. But what I've noticed is what I've been able to contribute to my network is infinitely more powerful. I've got just more ideas, more in depth. I have deeper discussions. I have just a wider selection of things and potential solutions. Just because I'm listening to more ideas, and that was where my book reading was really giving me the edge. Was I had more ideas because of my book reading, but I'm really beginning to believe that podcasting is probably the new book reading. And some podcasts are terrible, but after a few episodes whether someone resonates with you. Maybe they're terrible because they don't resonate with you. Maybe they're terrible because you're actually in a different place at the moment. It's just like reading a bad book. It might be the best book in the world, but it's just not for you at the moment. But with a podcast you can figure that out pretty quickly. So that's really I don't know if books are dead. They're certainly not dead. I don't think they'll ever be dead, but I definitely think that, at least in my world and the way I'm living and what I'm looking for, the podcast is fast, if not replacing. I think it's on par, if not getting a little bit superior to a book in terms of getting my information. There's if I started suggesting podcasts to you, we'd be here. Actually, do you know what? I'll do an episode on podcasts. In fact, I'll write a blog and I'll put down all the podcasts that I'm listening to at the moment, or that I have listened to that I'd recommend you. And literally, there's probably 30, 40, maybe even 50 different podcasts that are worth dipping in and out of, just to expand your thinking. And some are right, and some, there's some podcasts I listen to because I think they're dead wrong. But every time it gets you thinking, why am I upset at what they're saying, or why do I think that's just wrong? And it gets you to crystallize your thinking. Yep. Which in a book, there's no way would I read a book that I thought was dead wrong. I'd throw it away and get rid of it. Right. Hope that helps. Get listening. If you haven't subscribed to podcasts, or if you are subscribed to podcasts, go subscribe to a few more. Start listening. Squeeze them in, especially when you're commuting. It's a fantastic time to do it. Okay. Hope that helps. And go and expand your brain. Talk to you later. Bye.